Of course, our theme tonight is intriguing books and intriguing authors. So what's our second book, Jackie?
Another new release. Straight after reading Caroline Overington's book, I moved on to one that I had been eyeing off for a week or so. It's called Room. There's been a lot of discussion about it online and in other media. And the author is an Irish author. Her name is Emma Donoghue.
That's timely.
Yes, isn't it? I've linked in really well, haven't I? Emma Donoghue, she's been long listed with this book for the Man Booker Prize, which was announced 2 days ago, and unfortunately she didn't win, but I think she really deserved it.
Oh, but to be listed for those sort of awards is pretty impressive.
It's prestigious enough.
That's right.
Yeah, so she's a Dublin-born lady who lives now in Canada with 2 children. She's my age. I won't divulge what that is.
No, there's no need to know that.
She's the youngest of 8 children, and apparently she wrote poetry constantly from early childhood. She's very diverse in her writing. When I found out a bit of information about her,
What year was she born, Jackie?
No, I'm not telling.
I thought I might have been able to get you there.
She's her favourite form of writing is fiction, and she says that's what pays the mortgage. But actually, she enjoys writing fiction. She's also done lots of theatre, and she finds that the most exciting.
As in acting or writing?
Writing.
Okay, yeah.
She writes radio drama.
Oh, we should get her on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's also done literary history and biography, and she says that that's the most painstaking of her work, but it's really satisfying because, you go through and you have to do so much research, and she finds that a really satisfying part of her work. So she's very
diverse.
Yeah, she is. Very interesting person. The book's called Room, and I'm going to read you the blurb of this one too.
Okay.
I'm going to read you the blurb of the ones we get covered today because, it's part of the reason why I picked it up.
Okay.
Jack is 5 and, like any little boy, excited at the prospect of presents and cake. But although Jack is a normal child in many ways, his upbringing is far from ordinary. Jack's entire life has been spent in a room that measures just 12 square feet. As far as he's concerned, room is the entire world. He shares this world with his mother, with plant and TV, and his friends, the cartoon characters. Old Nick, on the other hand, is all too real, but only visits at night, when Jack is meant to be asleep in wardrobe. And only old Nick has the code to the door, which is otherwise locked. Told in Jack's voice, Room is the story of a mother's love for her son and of a young boy's innocence.
That actually gave me a tingle up my spine as to what's going on there.
I know. It's incredible. Now, I'm not finished.
Right.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and I tell you, I've been... I was reading it at the airport yesterday afternoon, and I was literally grasping my chair, and I had white knuckles.
Oh wow!
While very it just so in I don't know. It's a real thriller. It's a lot. It's based
engrossing.
Yeah, it's based loosely around some of these abduction cases,
right?
Where people end up living lives in rooms.
Yes, being held captive for X amount of years.
But I actually thought that the whole book was going to be spent in the room, but it's not.
Okay.
And actually, they're out of the room fairly early in the book,
right.
And what it's investigating is how the child is reacting to the world. And that's amazing.
Well, that is, often that's a good point. Often you hear about the terrible experience that the person has had in real life in their circumstances, but it must be such an enormous transition to go back into the world. It must be just mind-boggling, and depending how long it's been, how much the world has changed, and of course they'd be older and that as well.
There's some amazing... Well, he was born in Room.
Oh, wow, okay.
So there's some amazing conversations that go on between him and his mother, and his mother's was abducted when she was 19,
right.
So she's only a young mother.
Yes.
And the way she deals with this situation and her child is just such an amazing. They have some of the conversations are just incredible on how she tries to tell him about the outside world and prepares him, and she educates him in the room. So he comes out and he knows he knows probably a lot more English than most children his age would know, and quite complicated concepts. But in other ways, he's completely naive.
Well, that sounds like it is a very intriguing book. And what's the name again of the book and the author?
The book is called Room.
Yeah.
And the author is Emma Donoghue.
Wow. Now we have our third book, intriguing book. What one's that, Jackie?
Well, actually, this one, the Room reminded me a lot of a book I read about 3 years ago. And this one, again, an Australian author. Her name is Nikki Gemmell, and she wrote The Book of Rapture.
Okay.
And very similar in where the book is set, but very different concepts. So I'll read you the blurb of that one.
Okay.
So this one's called The Book of Rapture. 3 children wake up in the basement room. They have been drugged and taken from their beds in the middle of the night. Now they are alone. Where are their parents? Who can they trust? The family has been betrayed to the government and Salt Cottage. Their home on a cliff top above the ocean is no longer safe. Their mother's scientific work has put them all in danger. To protect them, she must let them go. She must put her faith in an old family friend and in her children's own resilience and courage.
Wow.
So there's different reasons why
there's a lot of suspense in these books you're choosing, Jackie.
Yeah. There's different reasons in this one why they're in the room, why they're being captured. But she looks a lot at some incredible concepts to do with science versus religion. And because she's a scientist and she's asking questions in the book like, are human beings incapable of ethics and morality without inventing a god? And have we outgrown religion? Are we getting too intelligent? Because of all the science that we know. She's an Australian-born author. And she's written quite a few other novels, and she's also written some non-fiction. She was born in Wollongong, this author, and she was a radio journalist on the ABC, and now lives in London. So, yeah, another one to go back to. I mean, this one's a few years old.
Right.
Very different reasons for being intriguing, but it just made me, reading Room made me remember
that
the Book of Rapture.
So just again, give us the 3 names and titles of our intriguing books.
Okay, we've got Caroline Overington with I Came to Say Goodbye, Emma Donoghue with Room, and Nikki Gemmell with The Book of Rapture.
Well, we're going to have another song, and then we're going to come back and talk about what's happening at the store over the next month.
Yeah, sounds
You're
good.
listening to Creative Corner with Denise, with Book Chat with Jackie on 88.9 wynFM.